Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Rules of Engagement. We're in the question and answer period, the last segment of Mechanics of the Bazaar. This is where any questions you guys tweet me at axslav. I'll answer those. You can tweet them throughout the day, and maybe I'll answer them at the end of tomorrow's episode if I didn't get them tonight. And also, of course, tomorrow is going to be community critique, so make sure to send me all your replays you want to be examined and analyzed up on the big screen over here. Go to majorleaguegaming.com/replays. And there's a little form there. It's very, very quick to fill it out, and you get that replay up on the show on Thursday. So let's take a look at our first question, right? Our first question is going to be from Icy Wiener. Why don't we see Turtle Mech TVP in tournaments anymore? So that's a good question. I think one of the best reasons is because it's harder for most professional players in Starcraft 2 to differentiate themselves from the rest of the pack playing mech. You see it from some players, even Goody does it sometimes, and actually, like Seed played it against Nano on a recent tournament. You see it peek in every once in a while, but in general, you don't see it very often because most of the pros, the big gap between your pro player who plays all day and your serious amateur, your other player, is the fact that their hands are so much faster. Their ability to control units is so much better. And that just goes so well with the bio composition that it really works. It really allows them to outplay their opponent. Whereas with mech, you have to outplay your opponent tactically, which involves, studying, learning tactics and strategy, working with a coach, etc., to really develop the best way to move across the map, the best way to set up your base, and of course, the best way to progress throughout this composition. Those are the skill sets that are very important with mech. This is something I think we're going to see more as the former Brood War players switch over to Starcraft 2. I think we're going to see a little more mech as their skill sets are really finely tuned towards that type of mech play, whereas a lot of the the current generation of the top Starcraft 2 players are more they're really fast with the hands, but they don't really put in the same amount of thought into developing a build order that those pro league guys do when they train on a specific build for such a long time. So I think we may see it more in the future, especially with Heartless Swarm. It's going to be a little bit stronger, but in general, Terran players are so good at micromanaging bio units that it's just a little bit more efficient if you have that top level micro. So let's go on to the next question. We're going to take a look. It's from Michael Hathaway. How can one regain aggressive map control after a poor engagement? Better creep sped, run by to pull army out of position. So it's a question there. And that's a good question. So after a poor engagement, that means you're going to have a weaker army, right? Which means they're probably coming in to really code through it and knock out a lot of your bases. So the best way to regain map control is you want to re-put and creep behind them if you can. If you can sneak in the queen behind your army as it pushes, your creep will probably not have receded. Lay down some more tumors, re-get all that creep spread out instantly. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to expand into corners of the map so you can utilize the fact that you got this vision and this massive ability to move around the map fast. And then you're going to want to threaten counterattacks, but most likely your opponent will be ready for them. But the goal isn't just to run a counterattack. The goal is while you're threatening these counterattacks, you're getting him to split up his forces, and then you're also moving to set up a really good encirclement on his core army that you can later try to squash with a really great surround from multiple angles. So you kind of just have to play a really strong tactical game from that point on to make a comeback. Great creep spread, expanding it at the corners so you can utilize that, and then of course getting that great surround on him, and also threatening multiple spots to get him to divide up his army. So we're going to do one more question today. It's going to be, how do the macro mechanics of the three races compare, and how do they relate to unit strength? So the macro mechanics he's talking about, the Terran has the mule, so they generally get one of the strongest economies in the game off the back of the mule. The Zerg can make a lot of drones, so they can actually often compete with Terran in economy. And Protoss has Chrono Boost, which you can slightly increase production things, which generally means Protoss can get faster upgrades, faster tech, that type of stuff. So Protoss certainly has the worst economy. They'll almost always be behind in food, but their units are going to be higher quality because they're usually going to be a little bit faster in tech and upgrades, and so they can surpass the other races in that way. Zerg will often have a ton of production because the main Zerg macro mechanic is their building that expands. When they take an expansion, it adds in production, right? So if you're a Protoss or Terran player, you take a new base. To utilize those resources, what you have to do is you have to build, four more barracks, 4 more gateways, etc. Zerg, they take that expansion, they've already got extra production as well, so they can really explode across the map and produce much faster, but also a lot of their early game units are a little bit less cost efficient, and of course, Terran's kind of the jack of all trades. They have pretty good economy, the units are pretty efficient, and they can actually take bases pretty well too from flying orbitals around, so The disadvantage of Terran is that coming up with a good build order is a little more complex. We haven't really seen many streamlined builds from Terran players, and it also the other big difference is that their units really require a lot of micromanagement to gain the value out of them. So it's going to be it for the question and answer portion of Rules of Engagement. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Stay tuned because shortly on the Major League Gaming channel, we're going to be doing some MVP casting.